Okay, so I'm going to make some green chili. This green chili, my dad came up with this recipe and he actually won several awards for this green chili. It's really good. You can make it really spicy or not so spicy. It really depends. Sometimes I add potatoes into it because my husband likes to have more of a stew flavor to it sometimes. But this green chili will rock your pants off and you will only want this green chili from now on. So I just got my pot out. I had turned the heater on. There's nothing in there yet, but I'm warming up my pan and I'm gonna put half a cup of oil in there to saute my meat. Well, not saute it, get it brown. So I'm gonna put half a cup of oil in here. You could use whatever oil you want or butter, it doesn't matter. So you basically want like a thin layer of oil in the bottom of your pan. Okay, so this is pork butt and pork shoulder, and I chopped them into small little cubes, trying to make them all pretty even in size. I did put half a cup of flour all over this and I mixed it in. So now I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna lightly brown this meat. You don't want it cooking all the way through. You just wanna lightly brown it. The lighting in my kitchen is really horrible, so sorry about that. So you can see that it's already starting to turn brown a little bit. Let me see if I can get this one up. So do you see how it's lightly brown on that side? So I dumped it in here, didn't really touch it for about a minute, and then I just stirred it. So I'm gonna give it a good stir. And then let it sit again for another minute or so. And my stove is on medium to medium high heat. Okay, so my meat is done. I'm going to add in garlic. It asks for 3 cloves. I'm going to add in quite a bit more than that because we really like garlic in this house. So I kind of just dump in, but 3 cloves is what is requested for this recipe. That looks good, for me at least. And then it wants 2 cups of broth for the original recipe. I usually do a little bit more because I like mine a little bit more liquidy, and so does my husband. We usually dip our chips in this stuff. So I'll do a mixture of vegetable broth and beef broth. You can do whatever type of broth you want. It does not matter. This is what I had. Okay, so there's that one. I'm gonna do a little bit more of the beef broth. There's not much left. I'm just gonna empty it. Going for it. Okay, give it a good stir. Make sure the meat is not stuck to the bottom. Reason why I let my pan warm up is so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. If you don't let your pan warm up, you're more likely to get food stuck to the bottom of it before. So now that the meat, the garlic, and the broth are in here, I'm gonna let it simmer for an hour, and with the lid kind of cockeyed on the top, so not on completely like this. I'm gonna tilt it a little bit, and I'm gonna stir it every few minutes just to make sure nothing's getting stuck to the bottom. My temperature is at medium. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit to kind of get a little bit of a boil, simmer to it. And then we're gonna wait for an hour, and then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients, and then we're gonna cook it for another hour on top of that. Okay, while we are waiting for this to cook and simmer for an hour, I'll just explain a few other things. So when that's done, there's 2 pounds of meat in there, if I did not say that before. So 2 pounds of pork belly and pork shoulder cut into cubes. Sorry. 1 cup of flour. And then I have 2 pounds of roasted green chilies in here that I already cut up and peeled off the skins. So that's it. Wow, that smells good. So that's saved for later. We're gonna add 1 can of diced tomatoes. And then for the seasonings, we have 1 teaspoon of celery salt, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of cumin, and then we have 1 tablespoon of dried cilantro. And I just got it all in here, mixed it up together just so it's a lot easier for me to just pour it in when we're ready for that. And again, that'll be in another hour. When this is done simmering and cooking, this will kind of cook the meat the rest of the way. And then the next hour of simmering and cooking kind of just releases all of the flavors from the spices into the rest of this chili stew, basically. And then we also just don't want the chilies to kind of just get too soggy and overcooked, because they will just disintegrate. They're kind of gonna do that just a little bit, but not as much as if you were to put them in right now. This is what I want it to look like when I say simmer for an hour. So it's not like raging bubbles, it's just light bubbles here and there, okay? Make sure you keep that lid on there at an angle so that steam can come out, okay? You know that I put extra broth in here in the beginning. I will, of course, keep adding more broth here and there if I feel like the liquid is getting too low. You don't want the meat that's in there like you just don't want the meat to burn. If it's sitting too low, it's gonna touch the bottom of the pot and then it's gonna burn. If it's not floating in that water, it's just gonna burn too much. So this is what you want. Add more fluid if you need more fluid.
Okay, so I just came over here to stir my chili. It's been 5 minutes, so I set a timer to stir it every 5 minutes. And I noticed a minute ago that it was kind of getting a little stuck to the bottom, not too bad, but just a little bit. So I went ahead and I turned down the heat a little bit, so it's a little bit past mid. So just a little bit below medium heat. So I'm gonna put the lid back on and set another timer for 5 minutes and do it all over again. Okay, update. Just came to mix it up, it's looking good. I turned it all the way down to low. So looking good. I did add a little bit more vegetable broth because it was starting to get a little bit low. So this is what it's looking right now. It's starting to warm back up just a little bit since I put some cold vegetable broth in there. I'm gonna give it a cover and we'll be back again in 5 to 10 minutes. Looking good. Looking so good. Look at that. That's looking so bomb. Yes. So good. All right. Here we are again. Looking so good. We're getting close to that hour. Okay, good stir.
Okay, so we're getting close to the hour mark. So if you did want to add potatoes in for the amount that you make for the normal recipe, I typically would put in 4 Russell potatoes and chop them up, cube them into small little chunks like this. So about half the size of what the meat is. That's a good proportion for the amount of green chili that you are making. If you wanted to make it into a stew, you would put it in at this hour mark along with the spices and the tomatoes and the green chilies. If you don't want to do that, that is 100% fine. I'm not going to do that this time. This time I'm just going to put in my green chilies, the tomatoes, and the spices and just cook it for that 1 extra hour. And I think in about 10-15 more minutes, I'm going to put in my green chilies, tomatoes, and the herbs. And I'm also going to add in a little bit more broth to this as well. Just because when I start putting that in, it's gonna rise up the liquid a little bit. But I did say at the beginning that I do like ours a little bit more liquidy, and this has cooked off a lot of the liquid that was already in there, but I'm gonna add some more back in because I like it a little bit more liquidy. So I just added a few cups of water to this. I am out of the vegetable broth. So I have Better Than Bouillon chicken base, and it is organic. You do you, I'll do me. So I'm gonna put a little chicken base in here since I put in some extra water because I didn't have any more broth. This basically would make broth if you needed it to. I'm gonna give it a little stir, mix that all in there. And since I did put some more water in here, it's gonna have to warm up again. And now it's time to add everything else. So we have our diced tomatoes. Our roasted green chilies that are already diced up. Okay. And then all of our herbs. So we have the 1 teaspoon celery salt, 1 teaspoon oregano, 1 tablespoon of cumin, and 1 tablespoon of cilantro in here. So I'm gonna add that in. Give it all a good mix. This is what it's looking like now. So I'm gonna let this simmer for another hour. I'm gonna check it every 5 to 10 minutes from this point on for the next hour, stirring it, making sure nothing's getting stuck to the bottom. and then it'll be ready within an hour. How exciting. It's gonna be so delicious, so yummy. All right, this green chili is done. Look at that masterpiece. So good.